we're now 6 months into Sam's sobriety, and with that, she might be detoxed of alcohol, but the side effect of that is her libido is growing stronger, and that complicates things. Starting off, Sam is in that mindset where living with Carol and having to deal with Bob, it doesn't really go well with somebody who's 29, lonely, and also sexually frustrated. You can't really masturbate when your mom and her boyfriend are having sex in another room and neither one of those two are quiet. And what kind of complicates things on top of that is when it comes to Sam, yes, she was out there before, but she's really not trying to double back on any of the people that she knew when she was a full on active alcoholic. With her being sober, the idea is, I want to find something new, and right now I wouldn't say that Sam's looking for a relationship, but she is someone looking to find someone that can help take the edge off. So naturally, James seems like an option. The problem is James, he's still weird about those two becoming anything. In fact, he still hooks onto that whole until you have been sober for a year, you're untouchable thing. And the way he approaches it is kind of with mixed signals, where it's like once that year is over, maybe something can happen. But when it comes to Sam, it's like, I don't know how to be friends with someone I'm attracted to who just rejected me. And I think in her mind, it's like, we're cool, but I need you to step away as I create a boundary. Going into the second topic, Carol runs into Britt, and we learn that Carol doesn't just mess with Sam's head and confidence. She apparently is quite good with that when it comes to probably most people, but Britt, we see the second example of. When she's talking to Britt, she talks about how Sam and Joe, they just want a good match because, he's not on Sam's level in terms of intelligence, and she just paints him as someone who's not really that cerebral. This kind of complicates things for Britt because she starts noticing, hey, I'm not with the smartest man around, and I'm a doctor, so what does that say about me a bit? And they kind of get into little spats about it, how he doesn't read enough, yada, 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 but in the end, she realizes, yes, Joel may not be the most intellectual guy she has ever dated. However, considering all this wedding stuff he's taken on, considering that she's working 72-hour shifts and stuff like that, he shows that what he may lack in the type of intelligence that Carol and Sam may value, he compensates with because he has emotional intelligence. He has some kind of social intelligence, and with that, he kind of balances out Britt. So while they have an issue for maybe like a day or a couple of hours, it gets squashed when she is reminded of why she loves this individual man, never mind what other people may see as his plus or minuses. Topic. It should be noted that when it comes to Felicia, she's ride or die for everything. She tries to get Sam up on the apps, even gets her hooked up with some weird guy, but that didn't go through. But luckily, Olivia has a little sober party, and Felicia goes with her for support. And at this party, James, he seems to regret rejecting Sam earlier. So he tries to dance with her, maybe make a little bit of a move, but that boundary's now firmly up, so he gets curved. But luckily, at least for Sam, while she's trying to get reacquainted with her body when it's not in a drunken state because of a gin and tonic, she bumps into a girl named Chloe. Those two hit it off, and they hook up in the bathroom, with Felicia acting as security to make sure that Sam and Chloe get to do all they need to get done. And with that, you can see as Chloe and Sam are very cute, James watching in the distance, sad. And, Felicia just happy that her girl got some. The first highlight is Sam and Chloe, and it's just I like the way they approach Sam's sexuality. It's not so much of I'm bisexual, I'm pansexual, not being a core part of her identity. She's more so just of that mindset of if they like me, I like them. Just as long as they're not vegan or vegetarian, we can work it out. And it makes me I'm just appreciative of it because I sometimes think when it comes to characters, whether it's their race or sexuality, sometimes it kind of seems like the writers double down on that one thing and make that their whole world, even though for most of us, whether you're black, bi, pan, whatever, yes, it's a notable part of your life, but it's not one of those things that are in the forefront. I mean, yes, clearly I'm black. I'll say the N word like it's nobody's business when I'm not on camera, but it's I identify as a Maori before I identify as a black man in America. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I have other traits about me, other adjectives I like to use or be perceived as before you bring up black and everything else that I am. And I feel like with Sam, you really get a taste of that. That in this age, there's so many other things to identify people with that when it comes to these, like, formerly shocking or major things, nobody really cares. And they don't care because they just want to be, horse with blinders on. It's that nobody cares because until it's one of those moments where it matters, why make that a thing? And then when it comes to the Sam and Chloe thing, I just I'm interested in the idea of what it means to be two sober people who used to be alcoholics and then getting into a relationship. Because, and maybe it's because I watched too much of Whitney Cummings' podcast, so the whole going from addicted to one thing to another keeps like popping into my mind. I just want to know what the recovery is like when you start to get in a relationship, because relationships seem like they would be a trigger to drink again. Never mind, with us meeting so many of Olivia's sponsees, I kind of wonder how she feels about her sponsees getting together and the implications of that. Especially if either any of them relapse because of her setting up a social situation which they can meet and possibly, find a trigger that ruins their lives. Even though it might seem like a weird highlight, but I'm kind of interested now in James using sobriety as a reason to not be with Sam. It kind of makes you wonder what is his background when it comes to relationships. We know that when it comes to IT, he's pretty much killing it, and when it came to his drinking, he would steal dogs. But whether or not he got into drinking because of bro culture, was it a bad breakup that sent him down that way? Has he ever even been in a relationship? It's the type of things you want to question as you see him kind of look like a sad puppy as Sam moves on with her life. Can I just say I appreciate Carol getting into Brit's head? The main reason why is it shows that Carol isn't just someone who picks on her daughter. This is just how she is. She's hypercritical. She knows how to plant seeds and just burrow in there, water it, and those plants quickly grow. And I would even say it kind of pushes you to realize that Carol probably knows what she's doing. It's just for some reason nobody has called her out on it. And I'd even add, it also makes you think when it comes to Britt being with Joel, there are some flaws when it comes to that. What was her initial attraction to a man who was her best friend's ex? Never mind, yes, we see at this point he's very nice, in that he definitely knows how to compensate for what his partner's unable to do or maybe perhaps lacks herself. But what was that initial hook there? Was it that she liked him she liked him just as Sam did, it's just Sam made a move? What's going on? That's kind of what this episode kind of gives you. Like, it makes you want to question what happened in the past more and more as we see things move forward. When it comes on the fence, I'm just saddened by the fact that Mindy, from what I'm seeing, is a guest star. So now I have to wonder, is this James and Mindy thing just not going to happen then? I mean, yes, we see in another preview that Sam and James are going to hook up, so Mindy may be regulated to just being Sam's manager. But I'm still stuck on that last episode and the chemistry that James and Mindy had. They were cute together. This Sam thing, I'm not saying Sam and James can't be cute too, but I kind of want to see Sam with Chloe now because that's, I mean, Freeform, we've had many bi and gay couples before. You see that on Good Trouble. You can see that on The Bold Type with Kat and Adina, even though that relationship was sometimes trash. But Sam and Chloe, they're starting off clean. They're starting off very cute. And I don't know if I want to trade that in for a heterosexual couple. Overall, by jumping 6 months ahead, single drunk female recognizes the day to day of being sober may not be the most interesting, but when it comes to each topic that comes when you reach a milestone, that is where the show can really dive into what it means to live a life without some type of crutch and how it is a struggle to get through life when you find yourself apprehensive to touch a substance that most have normalized, but for you, apparently, it just can't be if you want to be a fully functioning and aware adult.